Happiest Minds Technologies is coming up with an IPO. Everyone knows about that. Who is its promoter, executive chairman, and director? It is no one but Mr. Ashok Soota. I'm sure everyone knows about this by now. He's the same person who was the founding chairman and managing director of Mindtree, which was also an IT company. If you know, this company got oversubscribed 103 times. Do you know how much listing gain that company had got? Hi guys, Sierra Chana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a brand new video on this latest IPO. As I was mentioning in the first part of the video, Mindtree had gotten oversubscribed 103 times. As I'm shooting the video today, which is the day 1 of the IPO, 7th of September, this has already gotten oversubscribed. Okay, I was also talking about the listing gains which that company had got. Mindtree had gotten a listing gains of 46%. So can we accept such a bumper listing on for this one as well? But for that, please understand, if the issue gets oversubscribed, then the chances of you being allotted the shares is comparatively less. So if you want to have a higher probability of getting the allotment of these shares, you must have multiple demat accounts, not individual. I can apply only through one demat account, but what I have done for that, I have a demat account, my husband has a demat account, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, my son are rich, everyone has a demat account. So we do apply through all these demat accounts, so our probability of getting the allotment increases. So if you have one demat account, it's okay. Try to open more and more demat accounts for your family members, and for that, the Zerodha's account opening link is there in the description box. There are special benefits for you all if you are opening an account with this link. Before we talk about its IPO details, let's first understand the company, its business, its presence, everything. First of all, it has its presence in India, USA, UK, Australia, Canada, and also in the Middle East. If I talk about its core business, it has its three major business segments. Which are these three? Number one, you can see, is digital business services. Second one is product engineering services, and the last one is infrastructure and management security services. Even if these are three different business segments, it is very important to note that 96.9% of its revenue comes from the very first, which is the digital business service. But then the question comes up is, what is included in digital business service? For that, you can also refer to this graph. It includes what? It includes services like cloud services, SaaS services, security solution services, AI, artificial intelligence, and IoT services. Let's quickly understand about the company history. In 2011, this company was incorporated as private limited company, and one of its key promoters was Mr. Ashok Soota, as I mentioned in the first part of the video. It had its established presence at that time also in India, USA, and UK. In 2013, it established its presence in Australia. In 2016, it established its presence in Dubai. And in 2019, they also expanded their offerings into offerings such as artificial intelligence, then in remote process automations, in blockchain, and so on. And they also rebranded themselves as Born Digital, Born Agile. In each and every video of mine, I try to do one extra, kind of a special point, or you can say some different analysis. And I think for this entire video, this is one of the very good highlight points. A similar point of whatever I'm going to tell you right now has been discussed in my video on some special points to be checked out in IT sector company analysis. But that point into a deeper discussion will be what we are going to cover in this video. Okay, so just pay 100% attention. The RHP, which is the red herring prospectus, mentions that as on 30th of June 2020, the company had 148 active customers. Okay, fair enough. What they also do give in their RHP is that they have given a breakup of fiscal year 2018, 2019, and 2020, wherein they talk about how much customers they have in what segment. Okay, what is the segment? You can see here, one is USD 1 to USD $5 million. They have 14, 18, and 24. So the customers in this range is continuously increasing. Now, what do you mean by USD 1 to USD $5 million? They have 24 customers as on 2020, which are generating a revenue for them in between 1 to $5 million. Okay, that is the interpretation. If I'm talking about 5 to 10 $5 to $10 million, it's 2 and nothing in 2020. For USD 10 million and more, it is 0, 1 and 1. Okay, so if you check in totality, the number of customers, these big customers, it's increasing, which is 16 to 21 to 25, which is a good sign. Agreed. But now look at it from a different perspective. यहाँ पे अपना different perspective आ जाता है. How? Understand. Out of total 148 customers, only 25 customers you can see in this table. Okay, so if I deduct 25 from 148, balance, which are 123 customers, are generating a revenue of less than $1 million. Okay, so they have very small customers. Now, why is this point important? Because of COVID-19 impact. If I'm talking about small customers, small clients, everyone will agree with me that small businesses have seen a big impact as well. So if they are not able to generate good revenue, these small businesses, do you think they'll be able to pay their debts to Happiest Minds on time or no? There's a very less chance that Happiest Minds will be able to recover their debts very quickly. Okay, so this is what you have to understand, the customer split up for each and every company. Let's also check the geographical diversification. Very important point to be continued here. Here you can see that USA contributes to 77% almost of the total clients. India contributes roughly 10.9% of the total clients, and UK contributes 9.8% of the clients. Okay, now what is important here? Almost 77%, as I mentioned, is US clientele. Okay, but who is servicing these clients? As in, if I'm Happiest Mind company, I have 77% of my customers from USA. Question is, who is giving them services? Is it employees which I have in India, or have I employed US people? In that same video of top 5 analysis points, I had mentioned the concept of localization. Okay, what is localization? Localization means I hire people from that same country. In my example, if 77% of my clients are from USA, I would have a major chunk of people who are working from USA itself. They're local people. Okay, but now let's understand the split up for this company. For this company, on-site people, okay, are only 4.7%. People working there, their people working, US people is only 4.7%, whereas Indian offshore domestic people are 95.3% of the people. So with this, what will happen? What is a big downside here, and what is a positive point? Positive point is that more and more Indians working on these projects is equal to definitely what? Cost saving. No doubt about that. Our labor is comparatively cheaper as compared to US labor. But then US presidential elections are coming up. If the newly elected president says that nothing doing, we want to promote more and more employment opportunities in USA, then this company can see a big hit in their employee expenses. Okay, let's come to one more amazing point, because after listening to this customer point, I'm sure some kind of excitement has already come into you. So let's take it to one more higher level. Okay, what is one more point what I found in its RHP, Red Herring Prospectus? This same table is given in the RHP, which mentions the positioning of digital services versus legacy services globally. Nothing you have understood. Correct. What is digital services? Digital services are basically those which are like latest technology services. And what are legacy services? Legacy services are comparatively outdated services. Okay. Now, if I compare the growth of these two services, you can see our legacy services, outdated fashion, outdated technology services, even today are growing at a rate of 2.35%. Okay, you can see this with this table. Of course, you can see our 2018 के यहाँ पे you can see A is written, that is actual. Then 2019 के बाद it is ESTF, so future estimated and all that. So this is not estimated by me, this is given in their prospectus. Okay, this is the growth of legacy services. And if I'm talking about digital services is expected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 20.19%. Now you might be wondering, why did I mention this? 20.19% digital services are growing, and as I mentioned in the one of the first few parts of the video, almost 96% of their revenue comes from digital services. So is this definitely a positive sign for the company? Answer is yes. Okay, let's understand top 5 things about this IPO details. Okay, number 1, the IPO date is from 7th of September to 9th of September 2020. But wait, one more important point here. On 9th of September at 12 noon, I'm going to come live on Instagram, wherein I'll be telling you what are the latest updates about this IPO. I'm also going to tell you whether I'm going to apply for this IPO or not on the same date, that is 9th of June at 12 noon. That's my Instagram handle. You'll also check out the link in the description box. So see you soon live on Instagram. Okay, next point coming up is the issue size, which is 702.02 crores. Out of that, only 110 crore is a fresh issue, which essentially goes to the company, and 592.02 crore rupees is an offer for sale. This money goes to whom? Promoters of the company. Okay. Third detail which you should know, IPO price. It's from 165, which is the lower band, and 166, which is the upper band. Fourth point that you should be knowing about this is the market lot, which is 90 shares. So with this equation, 90 shares as the minimum number of shares that you have to apply. And if you're applying it at an upper band of 166 rupees, then you'll require 14,940 rupees to apply for one lot. If you want to know how much maximum lots I can apply for, that will be 13 lots, which will amount to 1,94,220 if you are talking about the RII, Retail Individual Investor category. And last point, fifth point that you should know about this is that this issue is going to get listed on 17th September 2020 on BSE as well as on NSE. Okay, let's also have a glance through the promoters holding. You can see here that the pre-issue holding is 61.77%, which includes Ashok Soota and many other promoters, promoter group basically. As very clearly mentioned in the table, Mr. Ashok Soota, who is the promoter, holds 48.83% of the shares. Other promoter group all put together is 12.94%. And if I talk about investors who are selling the stake, it is CMDB2, which is backed by JP Morgan. It is 19.43%. The post-issue shareholding is going to be 53.25%, and that was the reason why I said that this is also an OFS, wherein these promoters are going to sell their shares. Let's talk about a few important aspects from the financial information. If you check out here, the total assets of the company have been continuously increasing from 3,869.9 million rupees to 5,730.8 million rupees. Even if I talk about the revenue figures, revenue has continuously increased from 4,891.2 rupees to 7,142.3 rupees in March 2020. And even if you're talking about this quarter ended June 2020, it's 1,869.9 million rupees. If I talk about the profit after tax, which was basically a loss in March 18, 224.7 million rupees, it has come up into profit till 31st March 2020. It was 717.1 million rupees, and even for the quarter ended June, it is 501.8 million rupees. So you can see that the profit has grown almost 4 times from March 19 to March 20. Let's quickly understand who are the peers of Happiest Minds Technologies. They're TCS, Infosys, Larsen & Toubro Infotech, and Mindtree. But just for you to understand how small Happiest Mind is, let me compare it with one of its highest peers. It is TCS. Check out the revenue of TCS. It is 1,56,949 crores, and Happiest Mind's revenue is 714 crores. If I talk about the profit figures as well, PAT figures, for TCS it is 32,340 crores, and for Happiest Minds it is 72 crores only. But wait, if I'm talking about the percentage growth, let's see how much percentage growth is there for TCS. Revenue growth is only 7%, but for Happiest it's 19% revenue growth. And for PAT, TCS is growing at a rate of only 3%, but Happiest Minds is growing at a rate of 405%. Now let's come to one of the most important parts in this video, valuation. What about the valuation? If I talk about the price band from 165 to 166 rupees, at the lower price band, the valuation is coming, PE valuation multiple is coming to 23.43, and for the upper band, it is coming to 23.57. What is the industry PE? Industry PE is 26.9. So obviously, even at a lower or a higher price band, the company's valuation, basically the issue price, is definitely cheaper as compared to its industry average. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this Happiest Minds Technologies IPO. If you have really liked the content, don't forget to share it with your friends and families. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon if you are finding value in this channel. Also, don't forget that I'm going to come live on Instagram on 9th of September at 12 noon. Till then, do whatever you want to do. Jai Hind and bye-bye.